Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Door Bumper Clear, probably the first ever live version that's been broadcast anywhere, and I am absolutely terrified that we're going to screw this up. But what's up? I'm Freddie, Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace and Dean Thompson. My lovely, not Jordan yet, lovely co-host,
I am lovely.
Karsyn Elledge joins us today.
I'm excited. I'm not sure. Like Freddie said, live's a little scary for us. We got to watch our language today, but I'm excited. And we're missing our old man Tommy today, but we got Jordan here to fill in for us, and should be a good show.
I'm Jordan Bianchi, a reporter with The Athletic, and I'm honored to be with the esteemed DBC crew.
Jordan, you're missing out because me and Karsyn over here.
Yeah, I offered you one.
Table full of High Rock vodka.
I've got a water.
Have
That's
you guys
it.
visited the High Rock tent yet? You guys are not loud enough to have visited the High Rock tent enough. You've got to go back over there more. Our buddy Jarrett Johnson's over there working. He'll be happy to pour you a stiff drink if you're into it. I do have to ask, though, Karsyn.
I'm scared.
No, it's not for you. It's for this crowd. But we were surprised. How many of you were here today before the sun came up?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You're crazy.
That's crazy.
You're crazy. All right, how many of you here before the sun came up for Karsyn?
Nobody?
One guy.
Oh, there we go. We got two.
You want me to get his number for you?
Maybe we'll visit later.
We're not going to start that.
No, we're not starting that. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, but listen, guys, we're going to have a fun show. We're going to kind of do our same format that we always do. Make sure you stick around, though. We're going to do live Ask DBC at the end. Questions from you guys, much like Dale and Amy just did. And we're also maybe going to try to get a couple of you guys in on Spot On, Spot Off. If you have a strong topic, we're going to talk about Kyle Larson and the Indy 500. So if you got some strong opinions about that, find Andrew's little ass. He's walking around here somewhere, redheaded guy. But he'll give you some a minute of his time, and we'll figure out if we want to put you guys in Spot On, Spot Off. But yeah, anyway, Karsyn, you want to kick it off here?
It's been a big week. It's been a big week on Twitter. Well, yesterday. Big day on Twitter yesterday. There was a lot going on. I know we've got some spotter changes with Christopher Bell, the Hall of Fame announcements. We also got a group text from Tommy 2 days ago, pretty fired up after the voting, and apparently we have quite a rant to go on.
I can't wait for this.
Tommy has a rant to go on, but we're happy to be live here on Sirius XM on the Lionel stage at JRM Fan Day, presented by Bass Pro Shops. They're a great partner of Junior Motorsports, my brother Wyatt, so big thanks to them. What's been going on with you guys?
Jordan, I got to kick it off with you
All right.
because I'm a little disappointed. I really was hoping to come here. First of all, Jordan, I thought was going to wear a suit. If you ever know Jordan, he's the best dressed man in NASCAR.
That's a low bar, by the way.
This is casual day for Jordan right now. It's like casual Thursday. But what I was disappointed, I thought we were going to be able to give Gluck some grief over the Hall of Fame voting, and it seemed like he kind of nailed it.
He did. I mean, he had Kurt Busch on his ballot. He had Jeff Burton on his ballot over Harry Gant, and then he also had Humpy Wheeler and Ray Hendricks. So Gluck only missed one of the ones who got in. And honestly, you're splitting hairs between Harry Gant and Jeff Burton. Whoever doesn't get in this year is probably getting in next year. So honestly, a good ballot. The big debate obviously was Kurt Busch, and I think Tommy's going to talk about that more on DBC, which is I can't wait for that because that room I've heard was it was contentious.
Yeah, Tommy, when the news came out, so Tommy, if you don't know, Tommy Baldwin, our other co-host, I'm sure you guys are familiar with him, he has a vote in the Hall of Fame voting. He gets to sit in the room, and it's basically like a committee, I think, is the best way to describe. If they can lobby for drivers, I know Tommy did a lot of lobbying for Mike Stefanik in the day when Mike Stefanik was on the ballot because of modified relationship, and Tommy was just trying to point out how great he was. So each of these drivers has somebody in the room that kind of represents them, and they don't always agree with each other, and it sounded like this, they got a little contentious, like you said.
Yeah, the room was really split on Kurt, and from the conversations I've had with people who surrounding this, and honestly not Jeff, but just other people, it does seem like Kurt, it was very much up in the air whether Kurt was getting in, and I think actually Gluck wrote about this on The Athletic, where there was a lot of talk about Kurt's off-track, I don't know, lack of a better term, behavior or how he treated people over the years. And so does that factor into somebody going in the Hall of Fame? And ultimately, I mean, my opinion is his credentials speak for themselves. 30-plus wins, a champion, Daytona 500, Coke 600 wins there. How you don't keep him in is beyond me on the first ballot. And if you don't put him in now, there's a chance that him not getting in the next few years, because you look at guys who are eligible, Harvick, Truex, it could snowball a little bit, and it sets a really bad precedent. So really happy to see Kurt Busch get in.
Would you have done anything differently, like voting-wise, about the same? Like you said, it was split.
It was split. I honestly, I think everything was great the way it was. Honestly, my biggest beef with the Hall of Fame is the names that are on there that aren't already in the Hall of Fame. And I don't think crew chiefs are accurately represented. Harry Hyde, for example, how is that guy who built Hendrick Motorsports up as a championship crew chief, has won the Daytona 500? I mean, he was the inspiration for Days of Thunder, which really helped put NASCAR on the map. And then that guy's not in the Hall of Fame. Jake Elder, who was a crew chief for Dale Earnhardt when he won his first championship, that guy's not in the Hall of Fame. Like, what are we
Randy
doing?
Norton is a name that always sticks out
100%.
to me. Like,
Another guy, too. I mean, he was another foundation guy at Hendrick Motorsports, the engine guy who helped build that organization up. And he's already not in the Hall of Fame. What are we doing here where these guys are still on the ballot? They should have been inputted years ago.
Do you think we should trend more in a direction of like the MLB?
Yes.
Where it's, so if you're not familiar with the Major League Baseball format, it's if you get a certain percentage of the vote, you're in. You don't get limited to two guys, one guy, and one person. It's if you get whatever it is, 60, 70% of the vote, you're automatically in. So I think that, to your point, I think it's hard. Obviously, then you start running low on people. Like the ballot's going to change every year. But I think that that's not a model that we shouldn't ignore, because there's more than two people that should be in the Hall of Fame out of this ballot.
100%, and we're getting backlogged. And you look at the number of drivers who've retired in recent years, and crew chiefs as well. It's like, when are these guys going to get their just due? It should be a thing where it's a minimum. Pick a number, 60%, 65%, whatever that number is. Some years you're going to have 2 or 3. Some years you may only have 1. Honest, and then there's other years you may have 7. That's okay, because as long as they're worthy and they have the credentials and they've got the votes, then put them in the damn Hall of Fame.
Karsyn, I know that like the entire Earnhardt family, I think, gets the vote on this. Now, Tommy was talking about your whole family sitting behind him. Did you have any thoughts about the Hall of Fame? Would you vote anybody differently?
Honestly, I don't know. I think, like, to your point, with Kurt, his credentials are there, right? And I understand the split. I think also just the woman in me kind of understands and would lean more towards the off-track side of things and that kind of factoring in. But, I heard from Mom, I know her votes. I don't know if I'm allowed to, say them out loud.
We won't tell anybody. You can share. We won't tell anybody.
Well, I know she said she voted for Harry Hyde and Harry Gant. So, I mean, I don't necessarily think I would have done anything different. I think that, Kurt's career and all of that is speaks for itself, like you said. And I would love to be a fly on the wall in that room, though. I'm sure.
Oh, my God. That should be televised.
We told Tommy, we're like, hey, just put your phone on record and go in there. And
we have a group text with our team, with our DBC crew, and Tommy's texts were coming in green and going to different text messages, and I'm like, what is going on?
We thought it was because he didn't know how to work his phone, which is valid.
Very valid possibility. But it turned out he had no service, and I'm like, yeah, they're blocking his service because they know it's going to share information with us, and we're gonna leak it on the internet here pretty soon.
Next year, we know the room that they're in. We need to send Andrew in there and plant a recording device underneath a chair.
Well, we could just Tommy, like I said, he doesn't know how to use his phone, so we could just turn Tommy's recording on and put it in his pocket.
He'd never
and
know
he'll have no idea that it's going on.
He'd never
Sounds
know
like
how
my
to turn it off. We give him so much hell.
Oh,
really
poor
do.
Tommy. Other news this week, obviously, we'll get to the IndyCar stuff in a little bit here, but Christopher Bell yesterday, it was announced that he's having a spotter change this week. And the one big thing that I wanted to touch on, I think it's going to be a surprise because I seen my Twitter and everything light up yesterday, was why would Christopher Bell fire his spotter at this point? To be honest with you, Christopher Bell's spotter quit. He made the decision on Monday to step back, and he quit everything across all series. So that was Stevie Reeves was the spotter. He had made the decision that I think it's a lot like.
Let me just say this really quick, and I don't mean to interject here,
good.
but I understand he quit, and he did quit now. But this decision goes back further than that, and I've been told by people involved in it that Stevie Reeves had been told that at the end of the year they were going to be parting ways, and that Stevie knew this and just said, you know what, if that's the case, I'm out now. I guess it's good to go on a high note. You win the All-Star race. But I was told that while this was Stevie's decision, technically now the decision that Carney had already been made for him that at the end of the year they were going to part ways.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's hard for me. If that, we've heard the same rumors. I don't, I never got a concrete fact at anybody on the 20 car. And I think a lot of it stems from similar to what we talked about Derek Nealon on the show a couple weeks ago, like why he left Kyle Larson. Had nothing to do with the driver relationship with, the spotter-driver relationship. It was more the spotter and the team relationship where maybe the spotter and the team weren't getting along great. So that kind of led Stevie to make this decision now, I think.
It's just so weird, though, because, listen, I look at the dollars and cents, and if I'm Stevie, and everybody makes their own decisions for their own reasons, right? But you have a contract through the rest of the year, I would presume that spotters, and I'm not asking your details, probably have bonuses in there for wins.
What are you, the IRS?
I still got to pay my taxes, okay? They're listening, so thank God for extensions. But if you look at it, why not ride it out, right? You're with a team and a driver who's got 4 wins this year. They're obviously a championship contender. You have an opportunity to probably win more races and maybe even win a championship. Why not enjoy the ride while you can? Get the cash, along with it, and the bonuses, and then see. And so, but again, every situation is different, and maybe it just became untenable for him, or he just said, you know what, I'm good here. I went on a high note, and peace out.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, because I know you know a few spotters, but we're pretty egotistical.
No.
No way.
So, I think that sometimes that plays a part in it. And talking to Stevie, he swore up and down that this was just the right time, and whatever news he might have gotten earlier this year had no bearing on that decision, and I got to take him at face value for that. But it's just it's interesting timing. I was hoping maybe he's going to Indy 500. Maybe he quit this week so he can go to Indy 500, because that's why I want to go one day. But obviously we're never. Unless I don't think Bubba's going to run the double anytime soon.
Talk him into it.
So no, I don't think I need to see him in an IndyCar anytime soon. We have a hard enough time with the Cup cars.
Would you go spot for him in that too?
Yeah, I would. I mean, if we ever did it, I would go. But I'm praying to God we never do it. I don't think we need any of those problems in our lives right now. But yeah, so to your point, and and it's funny because we're talking about staying and going and then leaving and not leaving. I know you've got a little nugget in your pocket over there about maybe somebody that's staying. So this is going to be a little bit of breaking news here for you guys. So don't share it with anybody. Don't tell anybody on Sirius. Jordan Bianchi, slight Bianchi bomb maybe.
Yeah, we talk a lot of conversation about Kyle Busch and what his future is. Is he going to return to Richard Petty? Richard Petty.
Excuse me. If
Wow.
he's going to Richard Petty,
that's really news. Let me start over.
News.
We talk about Kyle Petty now. Jeez, now you got
Are you
me.
okay?
I know.
Hey, here.
We didn't even give him any high rock.
Let me start over. Kyle Busch, Richard Childers Racing, and whether his future is there. And I've been told, I talked to the team president a week ago, Mike Verlander, and I asked him about Kyle Busch, and this is going to be an article you're going to see on The Athletic coming out. Is Kyle Busch likely to return in 2026? And Mike told me, I don't see Kyle racing anywhere else. So reading between the lines, it seems like Kyle's going to be returning there, and that RCR is at least at a minimum going to pick up his option. And I actually think that Kyle's future with RCR is probably going to go beyond just another year in past 2026.
And we've talked about this in person. I talked about it a little bit on the podcast a couple weeks ago. It makes the most sense because there's really nowhere else to go.
No, this is I know a lot of people are interested in silly season stuff, and you look at the landscape, it's going to be a really, really quiet silly season as it stands now, and there isn't really any viable options for Kyle Busch to go anywhere right now. Look at the big teams. They've kind of have their spots already signed up for next year. So any move that he potentially could make is lateral at best, if not a step back. And you look at what RCR is right now. They have speed in their race cars. They really do. They have top 10 speed, and that's just not Kyle Busch. It's Austin Dillon as well. You look at Kansas, you look at Texas. Kyle's been fast. They just don't necessarily have the finishes to correspond with it. He has found a home there. They like him a lot. It's a good fit. It makes a lot of sense. And again, if you don't really have anywhere else that is a step up, where you're at makes a lot of sense. And again, he's shown that he can win there. So if RCR can give him the cars, he should be able to deliver.
Yeah, and like you said, they've had speed lately. Kyle was in position to win Kansas before he hits that treacherous bump.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Texas before he hits that treacherous bump. He showed speed on Sunday in the All-Star race. There was one restart where TJ was asleep at the wheel and didn't tell Brad to block, and and let Kyle drive to the outside and battle for the lead. But yeah, so I mean, interesting stuff on that front, and we're gonna kick off some spot on, spot off.
Ready for some spot on, spot off. I'm excited about the first topic, about the Cars Tour. We averaged 253,000 viewers on FS1 at North Wilkesboro last Friday, according to Nielsen. Is this the #1 feeder series?
Yeah, and listen, that average is one thing. Peaked at I think 365 or something like that.
And that doesn't even include the viewers we had on Flow either, which was a pretty substantial amount.
On a Friday night, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really, really good.
Friday night short track racing, you just can't beat it anyway.
I mean, for me, Jordan, I don't know the numbers, and I looked it up a little bit, but it's kind of hard to find the exact numbers. It's got to rival what the ARCA series does on FS1, I would think.
Sure.
And for me, we talked about this a little bit before. I don't know that it's the #1 feeder series. I think it's definitely. In my mind, it's replaced the K&N series. If you remember the K&N series where Bubba and Blaney and Chase Elliott and all these guys came from, the Cars Tour now has replaced that for me inside, because ARCA kind of took over that K&N deal, and it's the ARCA East and the ARCA West. And frankly, if you watch those races, I'm not impressed. Especially East and West races. The national races are a little bit better, not much. I think there's still an avenue for ARCA to have a national series where they get on these mile-and-a-half racetracks, and you got to get reps at a mile-and-a-half racetrack. But these guys learn so much more racecraft in the Cars Tour And for me, the short track racing, the product they put on the racetrack, if I am steering a young driver in a path right now, it's got to lead through the Cars Tour.
100% agree. And I actually I like dirt still. I think dirt, learning car control and everything there is imperative. But I think it's a hybrid. I think it's going from the dirt world and you need to transition over to the asphalt world. The Cars Tour is the best way to do that. Much better than the Can-Am Series, or the former Can-Am Series, now ARCA. And I even look at the ARCA Series, and it's not what it once was. It's great if you want to get laps on a big track, a Daytona. Do I get one of those too? Or?
Yeah, you can have one. You want that one?
Yeah, I got a
Sundrop.
spare.
Oh, Lord, thank you.
Sorry, Travis is moving too fast.
He's the
Travis
best.
said they
Travis, you're the best waiter around. I appreciate you, bud. But I look at the ARCA Series, and it's great for getting laps on big tracks, and you need that experience. But if I'm a team owner and I've got a hot prospect, I'm not putting him in the ARCA East or ARCA West Series right now. I'm putting him in the Cars Tour, and we have seen drivers go from that series right into trucks and have success. Josh Berry, for example, Karsyn Quapple. I mean, it is a series. Bubba Pollard's another good example. You don't need to be in the ARCA series anymore, and it's no longer, to me, imperative that you take that step. You can just bypass almost
I think
altogether.
you're looking at a perfect example of that right now with somebody like Butterbean, Brendan Queen.
Absolutely.
You know, he's left the Cars Tour last year, went right to ARCA, and he's hitting the ground running, winning races. It's almost like he could skip that step. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're just going to go there and win, he's – a lot of times we see rivalries between, like, Corey Heim and Ty Gibbs, Swalich and Zilic in the ARCA series, and it's really because they're only racing each other. You look at the front of that pack, it's two cars racing each other. Everybody else is a lap down.
There's no skill. I mean, let me take that back. There's skill, but you don't –
There's no craft.
There's no craft, and you're not getting your skill – you're not improving your skill set.
Yeah.
When you have that kind of caliber of equipment, and there's such a discrepancy between the top 2 or 3 drivers and teams and everyone else, what are you really learning?
Yeah,
and there's also not the car counts, I think, that high in some of these races on the East and West Series. You're getting 17, 18 cars for some of these races. You look at the Cars Tour, and you're getting 25, 26 for the main event, and it's hard. You have to learn how to save tires.
Yep.
You've got to learn how to manage a race and restarts and all of these other imperative things. And the parity over there and the competition level is so high, it really forces you to up your game and be better. Where in ARCA, we have seen basically plug and play where drivers will get in these cars, and you don't know if it's driver or car because the car always does well.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too deep in the hole of financials, but financially it makes a lot more sense to run the Cars Tour. You're looking at if you want to, if you're taking somebody, I know we hate money over talent and everything, but that's kind of the way the world is right now. But if you're going to rent a Cars Tour ride versus renting an ARCA ride, you could probably rent the Cars Tour ride for the entire season for the price of probably 3 ARCA races, the way this goes, especially if you're going to run Daytona or Talladega. So, I mean, the values in the ARCA series, I feel like the eyeballs are on the ARCA series, and you're going to learn more. I'm sorry, the values in the Cars Tour, the eyeballs are on the Cars Tour, and you're going to learn more in there. Like right now, I'd rather race against at least half of the Cars Tour. If we went to point stands in front of us, I can go down it. Versus the half of the Truck Series field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, I feel like we've turned the Truck Series into ARCA, what ARCA used to be.
100%.
And now, so I just think that, like I said, if I was leading a young guy, a young driver, male or female, and we see it, Jade Avedizian through the Cars Tour.
Great example. Comes from dirt.
He's going straight to Cars Tour. So I think that's the route that if I'm advising a young driver, that's the one you got to go.
I wholeheartedly agree. The only value I really see in ARCA right now is ARCA, Daytona, Talladega, Michigan, some of these bigger tracks, maybe a mile and a half in there. And honestly, I'd throw in the Trans Am Series too. The TA2 Series is a great way to learn car craft, manage tires, and road course racing. And the combination with that and the Cars Tour, to me, is the best way to go.
Karsyn, give me your sales pitch. I mean, you are the Cars Tour.
Well,
right?
we just talked about the Cars Tour for 10 minutes, and I didn't even get a word in.
Are you good with it?
I mean,
you get like a commission or anything?
I did want to say, like, an off-track element of the Cars Tour that I think is important too is that you're in front of certain partners and people that in a more intimate setting that you wouldn't be in front of otherwise. Like Folsom Fence is a great example. They've been with Butterbean, throughout his whole tenure with the Cars Tour, and now they're on his truck this weekend. I think it is at Charlotte. So also the competition is stiff. I think at Ace we had our whole field top 17 or 1 through 17 qualified within 0.2 of each other or something like that. Like it's tight, it's competitive, but then also you can kind of get in front of these people and networks and partners that you wouldn't be able to in a more intimate setting and really start building those relationships before you start going up the ladder. So
spot on. Is that what
I'm
you're saying?
spot on. I think we are the #1 feeder series, and you can go visit our merchandise trailer over there when we're done with this.
They got some nice stuff. There was a nice lady working in there earlier, but I don't know. She was.
It was me.
Oh.
It was me, just in case you guys were wondering. All right, moving on. Austin Cindric's ride is in jeopardy after Tim Cindric's release from Team Penske. That was a lot yesterday.
Spot
on.
I know. I mean, listen, my phone blew up yesterday when the news came out. What the Penske had made some decisions, and Tim Cindric is gone. So Austin Cindric, what does that mean for him? I will say this: Austin Cindric has term left on his deal with Penske, and if you look at the numbers and look at the results, Austin's delivering. This isn't like oh, he's my kid, I'm going to put him in a ride. He deserves it.
But I think that's what a lot of people think it is.
And they don't realize it. And you look at the numbers. He's got his stat line very similar to Joey Logano's this year. He's led more laps than Ryan Blaney this year. He's in the playoffs. Like, Austin has had a very, very good year. He is good for that organization. He's a good team player. For an organization that has two very high-profile drivers in Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, who won championships, Austin is a great teammate to have in managing that situation. I don't see Austin going anywhere.
Freddie, you got anything?
Yeah, I think that I agree with Jordan. It's the guy's made the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. His average finish has improved by 2 or 3 spots over the last 3 years. What more do you want the guy to do?
Yeah.
He's gotten better. And last year he won at Gateway, which, people are going to he won the Daytona 500, he won at Talladega. Those are drafting tracks. Okay, fine. He also won at Gateway, which is not a drafting track. He is a very good driver. He's a good teammate, and he has a good understanding of this car.
Yeah, and some of you might question the good teammate thing. I know Blaney's had some comments about him. There was a toaster. Did you guys, where's the toaster at? I signed a toaster for the first time today.
Wow.
That was the highlight of my day.
And they're supposed to be bringing it to Ryan for Ryan to sign it tomorrow. But I mean, I just don't I saw it as immediately on Bob's tweet and Jeff's tweet, your tweet. Everybody tweeted about the thing yesterday. Everybody's like, "Oh, Austin's out," and I'm like, I think that Penske has enough class to where I don't think it's two separate. Complete. And let's talk about it for a second because, Tim Cindric's obviously a major figure in that team. I mean, was this expected when you saw this news?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not going to impact the NASCAR side at all. Tim has kind of stepped away from that altogether, and he was really focused.
He had.
Before all this. And then as this unfolded over the last week or so on the IndyCar side of things, it was pretty obvious that they were going to have to make some decisions, really hard, tough decisions, and make some moves beyond just, hey, don't do this again. It had gotten to a point you're going to have to let some people go, and that's unfortunately what happened. I will say this about Austin really quick, too, is if you want to sit there and talk about, is he be out of a ride? Great. Who are you going to put in that car? Because if you look at the fleet, we just talked about it, there isn't a lot of available, talented drivers right now that you can go get. And so you have to have a viable replacement in line or out there that you can go sign, and right now there just isn't.
Yeah, like we thought. So everything I saw yesterday was Kyle Busch did it too. Well, we just talked about it. It's not going to happen. Kyle Busch is going back in the 8. So once you get past Kyle Busch, I mean, there's not really anybody that's better than Austin.
And I don't want to hold Kyle Busch to what his brother did previously. Kurt drove for Penske before. I don't think they're going to go.
Not a good fit?
I think they've done it once. I don't think they're going to do it again.
Yeah. I mean, Karsyn, you talk I know you don't but this, should one have any effect on the other?
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, like we said, a lot of people probably think just because, Tim is involved with the company that means that Austin, that's the only reason he's in the ride. But his stats speak for themselves, and, I hope that that's not the way that it goes. Yeah. I hope that period. That's it.
You talk about, listen, Austin Cindric is probably one of the most improved race car drivers I've ever seen from where he came. I remember his first truck race at Dover. He was in Brad's truck, which, obviously somebody's got to open the door for you. Tim being at Penske maybe opened some doors for him, but he performed. He won ARCA races. He won K&N races to get the opportunity to run the truck. He got in the truck. He went to Dover. He was like 4 seconds off the pace in the first practice, and I was like, oh, my God, this kid's terrible. And then as the practices went on, back then we had 14 hours of practice. So as the practices went on, he got better and better and better. By the time, he was a mid-pack truck by then. But then he got better in that. He progressed through there. He's an Xfinity Series champion on the owner's side. I don't think he ever won a driver's one.
He won a championship.
Did he win a driver's one? But I know they won an owner's championship. So, what more does this kid have to do to get anybody's respect?
He works really, really hard. He puts in the time, he puts in the effort, and the results are there. Again, look at his stat line this year. He is in line with his 2 championship-level teammates.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, moving right along. Kyle Larson can win both races this weekend. Spot on, spot off. Freddie?
I hope there's not any Kyle Larson fans in the house, but spot off. I think I think he has the ability to win both races. I think where he qualified in the Indy 500 is going to hurt him. It's very tough to win that race from deep in the pack. So that's going to be a tough challenge for him to get I think he can absolutely run the entire Indy 500. And come here and kick our asses on Sunday night. So that because I think he was getting ready to do that last year, seeing how fast that car was with Justin driving it. Luckily for us, it got rained out, and we all got an extra position on the 5 car. But But I think he actually has the ability to do it. Will he do it this weekend? Highly doubtful for me.
Spot off. And to me, it's not the NASCAR side, it's the Indy 500 side. Yeah. And to me, there's 2 big things for Indy 500. It's restarts and pit stops. And we saw last year Kyle Larson on pit road had a speeding penalty. That cost him there. You cannot replicate restarts in IndyCar. It's something you really just have to have real-world experience doing, and that's going to be tough. And honestly, I don't know if they have speed in the race car this year. Like, they haven't really showcased a lot of it. Like, Kyle's done a good job and everything of doing that, but they haven't maximized the speed where you feel like they're at a super high level right now.
Well, maybe now that the Penske cars have slowed down a little bit. Is that fair to
Too soon?
What do you think, Karsyn?
I agree with you guys. I'm spot off. I think Kyle's a super talented race car driver. Absolutely. I think he has the ability to do it. It's a whole different ball game. And, I definitely agree that he could come kick everybody's tail on Sunday, but I'm definitely spot off. I agree with you guys.
Andrew, where's Andrew at?
Right back there.
He's
we have
working
anybody
the
in the crowd that has any opinions on Kyle Larson?
What do you guys think?
Oh, Kyle Larson opinions.
Well, I know you got another question, but
I do have another question.
But
yeah, this is like a good reaction theater almost. You raise your hand. What do you think?
I am a Kyle Larson fan, but I agree with them. I hate to say it.
Wow, okay.
I don't think he's going to do as well this year in the Indy as he did last year, but he's going to kick ass on Sunday.
True.
Hopefully not too much. Not too much. But I know you got another question, Andrew. You got a Larson take?
If Larson can finish Indy, I think he has a shot at winning. I think he's going to end up in the wall, though.
Whoa!
Oh.
Is that just for the fact that he's already ended up in the wall twice this week, or?
Well, that it's Larson.
So you're going the
Checkers or records?
Yeah,
Checkers or
yeah.
records.
I can't say it on Sirius, but the stepping on things is what you're going with. I got you. I got you. I understand now. But I know Andrew. Andrew, do you have another spot on, spot off topic?
I think we do have another spot on, spot off topic.
Listen, this guy here, don't trust anything he says. I know him.
Oh, boy.
Now I'm nervous.
As a native Chicagoland Speedway, spot on or spot off?
I mean, the Speedway itself, spot on.
Bring it back.
If you guys want to start a chant, well, we can hear you on Sirius.
Bring it back.
Listen, and Jordan, maybe I don't know anything about this. Chicago street course, I think, has got to be nearing its end.
I mean, it depends on who you talk to, right? NASCAR's adamant, listen, we have a 3-year contract plus options, and they're not announcing or they're not ready to make any decisions, and they're kind of acting publicly like they're going to be back there next year. The conversation that I've had with people, I would personally be surprised if NASCAR is racing in downtown Chicago again. It's an expensive venture.
Next year.
Next year. And if you look at it, 3 years is about the shelf life for some of these new places, and I think that's fair to say about this. To your gentleman's question about Chicagoland, absolutely keep an eye on it. Let's see what happens. My colleague Jeff Gluck was actually just there yesterday and kind of poked around a little bit. I talked to people on the NASCAR side, and they told me it's close to being viable to race there. You got to spend a little bit of money to kind of jack it up a little bit and make it look pretty, but it's not that far away. And this is the important thing to know too. If you don't race in downtown Chicago, you're out of the 3 biggest markets: L.A., New York, and Los Angeles. You need to continue to have
Chicago. You said L.A. and Los Angeles. L.A.,
yeah,
Chicago,
Los
and New
Angeles.
York.
And you need to continue to race in Chicago if you can. And that racetrack at Chicagoland would put on a great show with this car.
Excellent. And I would love to go back there. We're pretty good at Kansas, so I love a good 1.5-mile race.
Well, do you want another spot on, spot off topic?
Yeah, let's go for it.
It plays right off of what we were talking about with the Chicago street race.
Yeah, so my question would be, are you spot on or spot off for continuing street racing outside of Chicago?
Listen, when it first started, when we first announced Chicago, I was like, this is going to be a disaster. And the first year with the rain, the problem with Chicago for me is the poor race can't get a clean day.
No.
You know, I mean, like it's. I feel bad because I think it would put on a pretty decent race, but it might even be better in the rain. Who knows? But no, I'm for it. Especially if we go to New York, I get to go home maybe. You know, that'd be nice. But you know, it'd be hard to find a spot in New York to do it. But you know, I'm for it just because it's something different. SVG is going to kick our ass probably the first year we go anywhere when we do this. But you know, it's definitely something that has a place. Karsyn, how do you feel about watching street racing?
I'm indifferent about it, honestly. I think it's cool. I think the idea of it's cool. I think going, you know, in downtown Chicago just in general, or any city, like you said, would be cool in general. First year was kind of a little bit of a show. But, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's
in a good way, though.
Good, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's entertainment, right? And that's what everybody that's watching at home wants to see. So I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I think it's a good idea, and I think the execution has gone decently well. But I would like to see it somewhere other than Chicago. I don't know what do you think that could even look like?
San Diego's the one that I keep hearing about, and I know NASCAR has had exploratory talks with San Diego, and I've seen kind of how they would lay that race out. It makes a lot of sense because it would put you in Southern California. Now, whether that happens for 26 or 27, we don't know. But you look at street course racing, and it's the bring the race to the people mentality, and it's absolutely correct. If you look around this country, there are pockets where there necessarily aren't viable racetracks. Pacific Northwest, Rocky Mountain region, Southern California. If you want to race in those areas, how are you going to have a race there and make it work? You almost have to race on a street course. And so I think it will continue in some facet. It may not be like consecutively where you see right from Chicago to, say, a San Diego, but maybe a year off or 2 years off or however it is. But this idea, the NASCAR's proved that this can work. The rain didn't help, obviously, but they put on a show. The racing's been good. It's done everything it's needed to do. And so, yeah, you're going to see a street course somewhere down the road.
For sure. And I forget what the hell I was going to ask you because I got distracted. So that's
What'd you get distracted by?
I don't remember. My buddy Large just was wandering around over here. So I saw him and I was going to grab him for something, but now I can't remember what the hell we were going to talk about. Oh, well.
That was it?
Yeah,
Should we get
that was
into
it.
some Ask DBC?
Yeah, that's
we
some
still
great-
got some spot on, spot off?
That was a great segue.
Great radio,
Yeah,
Freddie.
great
yeah.
radio.
Oh, I can't remember.
Well,
what I
you know,
was gonna
the
say.
one thing I was going to say was I'm happy that Karsyn was the first one to curse on Sirius. I thought for sure it was going to be me, but the old S
No,
show.
somebody said
old
the A
S
word.
show- I said that's
Yeah,
not a curse.
that's the
Is
A
that a bad
word.
word on
I
Sirius?
Let's
think
not
the word that-
recap what words have been said
Okay, go ahead.
already.
You know what? Let's go through them one after another. No.
Anyways.
All right, Andrew, go to. Let's get some Ask DBC.
This
going.
is a great time for SDBC. I agree.
Hey, and by the way, watch your language.
yeah, please. I can
Serious,
yank
you can
this.
swear. It's okay.
Well, please don't. But this first question
Okay,
is coming
Dad.
right here from Richard.
Hi, we're heading to Mexico City this year.
Yeah.
What are your guys' feelings on international expansion of NASCAR?
For me, you know, I love the idea of going racing internationally because it's different markets, it's new fans. I love that idea. For us, like, would you hear us complain about it? It's just us complaining because of travel. You know, we got to spend extra days on the road. I don't know what Jordan's travel is going to look like. So the teams are going to all get together and travel down there. I think we go Thursday morning, then we got to stay over and stay over till Monday. So that's the thing with us. We're so habitual that we like to go in Friday, get out Sunday night, and so now we're going to complain about that a little bit. But I'm excited to go. I mean, as long as everything's safe, I don't care. You know, like I'm good going anywhere you want us to go. I love the idea of bringing new fans to the sport. I think there's going to be a crazy crowd down there. I'm going to wear all my track house gear and blend in and cheer for Daniel just like everybody else. So,
Be a part of the Amigos.
yeah, I'm going to be one of Daniel's amigos down
Lead
there.
the cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, how do you? I mean,
I think it's. I think
Are
it
you
makes
going?
I will be there. Yeah, I'm going in Wednesday, and to me, it makes sense. I mean, you need, if you can expand the schedule and go into new markets like we just talked about, why would you not want to be there? Mexico City is an incredible city. It's big. It's vibrant. Sponsors want to be there. It just makes a lot of sense. So Mexico City, Montreal, obviously, I think anywhere in North America is an easy yes to me. Now, conversation about, let's say, Brazil, because that's been a hot topic about should the Clash go to Brazil. That's a different conversation, and that's logistically is much more challenging. But honestly, traveling to Mexico, at least from my perspective, is no different than traveling the West Coast. The flight's about the same. I have to go in one day early, but I'm still always leave on Monday anyway. So for me, it's really not much different. I know for the teams, it's much more challenging. They've got to go down early. The logistics of getting the haulers down there is not easy. I mean, they're going right from the race in Michigan the week before. And then they're going to go down to Texas and meet up down there. there and then go across the border together. So there's things like that. You've hurdles you got to hop through, but at the end of the day, it makes too much sense. And if you can race in Mexico City, absolutely you need to do it. And I hope they race in Montreal in the next couple of years too. And I know NASCAR's tried.
He actually has a follow-up question about that.
I love that.
Yeah, it was. The question was really directly related to Canada. I used to go to NASCAR events in the 70s in Canada, and we've been absent now for 30 years. So I know they've talked about Montreal, but there's lots of other markets as well.
There are, but you look at Montreal, big city, viable. That racetrack's amazing, right? The Gilles Villeneuve circuit is incredible. It's world class. What's that?
Easy for you to say.
No, not today apparently, because I think Kyle Petty's driving for Richard Childress.
Richard Petty, actually.
Yeah, Richard Petty too. Is he making a comeback? Wow.
Surprise.
There are some other circuits up there, but you have to look at proximity. What do they offer? Do they have, they close to major cities? Can they bring people in? Montreal checks all of those boxes. So there's some ovals up there that are really competitive, and I love to see them at. They just don't have a lot. They don't have a lot of grandstand seating, or they're hard to get places. And you're rubbing your hands together like money, right? It costs a lot of money to do that. I don't know if you can actually make money racing at some of those smaller ovals, but you can at Montreal.
All right, what else we got, Andrew?
Oh, no, not the toaster guy.
Wait, you were the caller for that?
No, he's got a
brought the
toaster in front of him.
Oh, he brought a literal toaster.
Me and Freddie signed it.
Oh my gosh, that's probably the best thing you've ever signed.
100%.
As a
100%.
DBC fan.
Well, really, what is the best thing you've ever signed?
So next question.
Are you a Blaney fan?
I am a diehard Blaney fan.
We can't say that in
That's
serious.
why. Okay, well, Austin here, who brought the toaster, by the way, got here at 3 a.m., so thank you for getting here. So
Is that what the
it's
3 on his
Anthony.
shirt
Sorry,
is?
it's Anthony.
You got here at 3 a.m.?
That's why he's got the shirt on.
Where are you all sleeping? In your car, or do you set up tents?
No sleep.
No sleep.
You guys have been awake
What are you
since
doing?
then.
Just
Was
hanging
there
out in the
alcohol
parking lot?
involved? Yeah. Alcohol? Was there alcohol involved
A
at
little
3?
bit.
Okay, good.
Good.
At least get here hungover at 3 a.m. and go to sleep.
What's your question?
So on the silly season topic, with Connor Elledge being soon to be ready and a Trackhouse development driver, who do you think is on the hot seat more, SVG or Suarez?
So, I mean, we talked about this on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to be honest with you, it was a conversation that me and Jordan had earlier in the year that kind of triggered that conversation on the podcast. And it was, I think everybody came into the year like Suarez better perform because Elledge is coming. And I don't know that that's the case.
Suarez has done well this year. I mean, he's had good runs. He hasn't necessarily had good finishes. He did have a second place at Las Vegas. He was running top 10 at COTA, then spun out, and then his teammate hit him. He was running top 10 at 6th at Phoenix, and then he got into a wreck not of his own doing. So the performance has been there. The results haven't been there. SVG has been struggling, especially on the ovals, but he has gotten better as of late. I think one thing to keep in mind is let's look at this summer stretch, right? You've got races at Mexico City, Sonoma, Chicago, 3 road courses where SVG honestly is probably going to be favored or he's going to be in the conversation. If he can win one of those, that changes it because all of a sudden he's delivering on the promise and the results that he needs to do. And then if you're Trackhouse, you say, listen, we can count on him to maybe win a road course race every year. He's going to put us in the playoffs. He's got sponsorship. He does have a contract, by the way, still. So that would make him probably more secure. I think at the end of the day, it's a really hard conversation. But let's not assume that Elledge is going to move up next year. I mean, there is a case to be made. He's been very, very impressive. He is everything that you would want to see in a young driver like that. But I don't think it's a bad thing to keep him in Xfinity for one more year.
Yeah, and to your point, the biggest thing, I think this all kind of boils down to money. At the end of the day, in our sport, it seems like that's the way things go. It's a lot about money. And if I don't even know, SVG, I would assume, is hovering around 30th in points right now. Yeah. I don't know exactly where he's at. But if he wins a race, we saw it last year with Harrison Burton, jumping from 30th to 16th in points is like $2-3 million more point fund money. So no matter what Daniel's got on money, if SVG can show you that he's going to put you in the playoffs on a more consistent basis, maybe you lean that way. But right now, he had a decent result at COTA, but it's, so he's going to have to go out there and perform these road courses for sure. But the thought process also could be Connor can step in there. Connor is just as good on road course. I mean, that's his niche is road course racing. Can he do the same thing? Can he step in there and win the same road course races that SVG does? And then you take a little more money from Suarez. I think that I know people got on me about after the podcast that SVG has money and Suarez has money. Yeah. I think Suarez probably has a little more sponsorship behind him than SVG. So it's at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to who brings more to the table. and not just based solely on results.
And also, whose ceiling is higher, right? Like, we kind of know what Suarez is at this point. We don't know what SVG's ceiling is. Yeah, the ovals have been in an adjustment, but it does take some time, and it's kind of turning around a little bit. But if he's good enough on the road courses, that may be enough to sway it.
For sure.
We got a question right down here, front
We
and
need
center.
a taller question.
I know.
guy.
God,
I can't find
You need like a flag or something.
Yeah.
Well, let me go.
Get you a
I'll
stool.
go find. I'll get on somebody's
Still.
shoulders if that's easier.
Where's Travis? Get on Travis's shoulders and walk around here.
Travis
Yeah.
is busy bringing us drinks.
Oh, yeah, Travis is busy.
Drink
I'm
too,
sorry.
by the way.
This guy.
This question's from Rain, who, by the way, told me he got here at 7:30, and thought that was early. And then he's like, "Oh my gosh, look at the crowd."
And he
that's
was
already
lined
here."
up around the block somewhere, probably.
Yeah. But what's
Did
your
you
question?
get here that early to listen to us?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
for DBC.
That's exactly what he was waiting
Appreciate
for.
it.
All right, Rain, what's your question?
With NASCAR wanting to go back to Southern California, is the Long Beach street course like pretty viable?
That was what I was going to ask you about, first of all, before I forgot what I was talking about earlier. Before I get to Long Beach, do you think anything happens with Fontana? Ever?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, I think they're going to wait it out as long as they can. And I think they can make it happen the next 2-3 years, they will. But it's getting to that point where you're going to have to make some decisions. It's expensive to do anything in California
Especially
right
California,
now.
yeah.
And you've got so much red tape. I will say this. I think people don't understand. NASCAR wants Fontana to happen. Like, they are willing to cut the check and make it happen. They are just not going to be stupid about it. So I think it's going to happen. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Long Beach, I would love to go there.
yeah.
I mean, what a...
NASCAR wanted to go there. They
Yeah.
had legitimate conversations about acquiring a 50% stake in the race, and that would have solved all of your issues about Southern California because you're in LA, you've got a huge event and everything. It just didn't work out, and so it's basically going to remain in the IndyCar family. I don't know how NASCAR would race there because IndyCar, that is outside the Indy 500, that is IndyCar's signature event. IndyCar would have to be willing to why don't you come, be the Sunday show? Well, IndyCar's not going to do that, even though they should if you look at television ratings and popularity and everything else. And is that worth NASCAR to say, hey, we're going to race on a Saturday? That doesn't make any sense for them.
Yeah.
So the answer to your question, I don't think it happens.
I don't think so, but I hope so. That's
That would be one I would go to.
All right, we got a question, Freddie. If you look to your right, that's where I am.
Oh, okay. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I know. I'm really short.
Hey, I know that guy.
I kind of. So I just graduated college last weekend, and I've got my degree in like motorsports and race car setup and all motor stuff. Like, what would I guess like my next steps be? Try move forward, try get a career going, and maybe eventually try work my way where I can move down here to Charlotte and work somewhere down this area.
First of all, congratulations.
Yes, for sure on that. And you've got great timing because I think a lot of teams right now are looking for help.
Absolutely.
There's the engineering side of things, is trickling down into the cars tour like we talked about. It's so like what I tell everybody to get into the sport, the best way to get into the sport is at your local level. Go to the racetrack, and if you've got great ideas, I know you do. We've talked about this before 1,000 times. You go to the local team. Go every local track you go to, somebody's looking for help. I promise you. It might not be the best team at the racetrack, but there's somebody there that's going to be willing to take your help. And then you just kind of work. For me, it was working my way up the ladder. It took a long time, but I got there. The thing is, get in that local level and then just progress from there. And obviously, coming down here, just keep an eye out because there's teams.
You never know who you'll run into.
There's teams. We'll just tell Dale to hire you here. I don't know if he left yet, but I mean, keep your eyes open because a lot of these teams in this area are looking for good help.
Work hard.
Yeah.
Put in the time and energy, right? And always be open-minded about what your possibilities are. Don't say, this is just what I want to do and I'm only going to focus on this. Try everything. Do everything. You may end up finding something you like that you didn't even think about. And I will say this, if you develop your skill set and you know a lot of different things, you make yourself more valuable. It's any career, right? And the more you know, the better you're going to put yourself in a position and the more attractive you are to a potential employer.
I know, Andrew, we got time for a couple more before I go.
Right over here.
We do, yes. We have time for a couple more. This one is from Chris. We're here in Charlotte, obviously. Coke 600 this weekend.
This is
has a question.
This is Mooresville. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, stop lying to
Same
everybody.
thing. I mean, you tell people you're from Charlotte, but you're really Huntersville, Mooresville. But he's a question about the future of the racetrack.
Since the cars are so strong on a 1.5 mile speedway, what's the odds on them removing the Roval and replacing it with a championship race?
Can you say that louder into the mic so Marcus hears you?
I mean, everybody. I think everybody in NASCAR, and I kid you not, everybody on the team side, and I think I'll even say NASCAR itself, would love to be on the oval for the fall Charlotte race. It just it's great racing. It's such a better show. However, like you said, Freddie, what it comes down to is what Marcus wants.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And listen, we put on a much better race on the oval, in my opinion. And you can tell that they're kind of chasing their tail a little bit because they're reconfiguring the racetrack and they're trying to make things a little bit better. I thought last year's race was pretty exciting.
It was good,
but it would be better on the oval. I'm more of, you know me, like, first of all, my guy's not the best road course racer. So I would like all the ovals on the planet. He's gotten much better, I'll give him that. But, you know, I would like all the ovals, and I think our fans would like to see more oval. I mean, I loved two road course races was, I think, pretty good. 3 or 4 is okay. Now, once we get to this 5 or 6 range, I think we're kind of oversaturating the market a little bit with road course racing. So I would 100% agree with you. Hopefully, Marcus is listening today, and we'll get back on the oval soon.
I would love it. It would be a great thing. It's kind of what we talked about. 3 years or so, kind of for a new track, and it's maybe kind of peters out a little bit. I think we've seen that with the Roval. I will say, I'm just on the other side of that. I've talked to a lot of fans, and Charlotte Motor Speedway people will tell you this too. They like having 2 different races because it caters to 2 different audiences, and I've had fans tell me too, like, hey, I like coming for the oval, but I also like coming for the Roval. But at the end of the day, the oval makes too much sense.
Where you at, Andrew?
I'm right here.
I can't even see
Gosh, I
out there.
literally have not been able to find him.
I'm the one that's slowly turning more red because I forgot sunscreen. That's the easy way to find
You're going to
me.
match your hair soon.
Yeah, it's not good. But anyways, we have another question. Jordan, maybe you can help us with some silly season. You know, we're going to try and squeeze every bit of information out of you.
Yeah, hi. So I just wanted to ask which of the big Xfinity Truck Series prospects do you think are most likely to move full-time to Cup next year, and why do you think it's Corey Heim?
I got bad news.
I think it's
I don't
Connor
think
Zillett,
so.
right?
Yeah.
I heard him a little bit. He said that which prospect's
better?
Truck
and
and Xfinity.
And then
Yeah.
which one's why is it Corey Heim?
Yeah, Corey. Well, listen, I think Corey Heim's probably going to be in the Xfinity or Truck Series for at least 1 more year.
Yeah.
But Connor Zillett is the one to keep an eye on, and he is the one that really has got people talking. And I'm going to throw another name out there too. There's people talking about Karsyn Quapple. Like, people have recognized what he has done. This is a guy who doesn't have a lot of big track experience. He's done a very good job of managing races and doing well, put himself in a good position points-wise, had a lot of good runs this year that have just kind of fallen by the wayside, not for his fault. He is somebody that I know at least multiple big teams have looked at him and said, hey, that's somebody we like.
Yeah, to answer one, Corey Heim is the most Cup-ready prospect in the sport, I think. I mean, I think Connor Zillett can go out there and probably win a road course race tomorrow if you gave him the right opportunity. I think Corey would be the most consistent. He would do a great job on a week-to-week basis. We saw his first race a couple weeks ago.
Look at Kansas. He was the highest finishing guy among the 23-11
We don't talk
drivers.
about that here.
Unless Freddie's saying Denny is great, he doesn't want to talk about it.
But he did a phenomenal job, especially on what you look to see is guys have speed, guys have racecraft. Corey had a little bit of he had pretty good speed, but his racecraft was good enough to where he was able to save his equipment where he was really fast at the end of a long run. And that's what you want to see from a young driver. So Corey is the most ready, I think, right now to go Cup racing. Unfortunately, there's nowhere for him to go.
Yeah.
Riley's under contract, Bubba's under contract, Reddick's under contract. Corey's over there in the 2311 family. There's no seats over there. I think I would love to see him in a JGR Xfinity car. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's ever going to happen.
I would like to see him in full-time Xfinity just like Sam Hunt.
Yeah.
Because I worry, we see some drivers, is you stay in the series too long, you develop bad habits, and you become stagnant, and you're not continuing to push yourself, and it's just, how are you growing? How are you getting better?
He's going to develop bad habits if he keeps getting run over every week. You know what I mean? He's been the fastest truck week in and week out, and something happens where there's somebody gets in the side, like we saw the other day, him and Lane racing each other hard. He gets turned around. That's where if you get stuck somewhere, like you said, that's where you develop those bad habits at.
Yeah.
Andrew, one more, and then we got to kick it to something else.
One more, and I think we're going to end it with a good one here.
Kevin from Virginia!
If you're a DBC fan, you know Kevin from Virginia. He even has a shirt that has his name on it, Kevin from Virginia, so you know he's the real deal. But, Kevin, let's finish it off with you.
This one for you, Freddie. We know how crucial spotters are. Is there any technology like you would like to see developed to help your job, and what track has the best amenities to help you do your job?
So it's funny, the best spotter stand in the sport, amenities-wise, is Phoenix. and it's one of my least favorite to spot from just because of the angles that the car, because we're still in the center of a corner, and it's hard to judge depth perception with cars driving straight at you and straight away from you. But they by far have the best spotter stand in the sport. Technology-wise, I want less. I want to rely on my eyes. You know what I mean? These guys are, a lot of guys up there with iPads watching SMT live. They have all this data in front of them, and I hate that we share each other's data. I hate every driver can see what every other driver's doing. Some guys got better at things by learning their craft, and then their information now is just shared with everybody. But yeah, I don't, unless they can fly me right over the car so I don't got to stand on top of the roof all day. Maybe some shade.
What about hornets, bees?
Hopefully one day somebody invents some shade. That'd be nice. But other than that, from the job side of it, no, I think that I love it. I actually want less technology because now we're getting out of hand. There's guys with TV screens attached to the rail up there trying to watch SMT and timing and scoring. When I got my phone out, McMurray came up on the roof of Talladega. He's like, that's all you got? I'm like, that's all you need. The race is out there. The race isn't over here on the railing. It's out there. This is what you're supposed to be watching.
You're old school.
Yeah, I'm old.
And don't forget, so when it comes to amenities, though, we want to make sure there's no bees and hornets, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. I don't like to get stung by bees. That's not ideal for part of our job. But yeah. I'm getting flipped off over here by some tall, ugly, bald guy named Large. If you guys see this guy, go bother him. He works for Barstool. If anybody's a Barstool fan, he's a loser. But anyway, yeah. So Andrew, are we done with Andrew? He's over here.
Yep,
we're done.
I know. We're done with Andrew.
What we do got to do, though, is bring up, where is our friend Caitlin Waltrip at?
Caitlin, you're being summoned.
Hey!
There she is.
There she is. Now, interestingly enough, coming soon, I think.
What date did we get the other day? August, I think.
August. Okay, maybe so.
We have an
soon.
official month now.
Caitlin and our friend Karsyn, who's been the best DVC host we've had this year.
I'm the only one you've had this year. You're going to make me cuss on Sirius again.
Caitlin and Karsyn are starting their own show coming up soon. We want to talk a little bit about that show today. So you guys want to kick it off? What are we looking forward to here?
Yeah, we're excited. We're going to start Rare Breeds up this summer.
Yep.
If you know the two of us, Rare Breeds is a pretty true term.
Perfect explanation.
It's really just going to be a podcast about girlhood and living our lives. And, we obviously both grew up in racing families, but that's not all we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what it was like and
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, what it's brought us to as people today, and making fun of ourselves and laughing at ourselves and our drunken nights, whatever it might be.
So obviously,
we're excited.
Obviously, I would assume everybody knows by now, Karsyn is Kelly Earnhardt's daughter, Dale Earnhardt's granddaughter. Caitlin is Michael Waltrip's daughter. So the two of them have kind of come up in this crazy world together, and I'm looking forward to it. The question I have for each of you, I don't know where your mom is, if she can hear this or not. Who's going to cancel this show first, your mom or her dad?
We've laughed about it. It might be our sister.
It might be, but my dad's put me through a lot on camera too, so maybe it's time for me to give a little bit.
Let me ask you a question. Sunday night, we're out there, we're watching the All-Star race, and I'm sure you were tuned in somewhere. What do you think when your dad is up there trying to wave the yellow flag and this dumbass just drops the thing on the front straightaway?
Oh, well, at first I was like, on purpose or on accident?
That's a very good question.
And I don't think it was on purpose. That flagpole was this big. His hands are huge. It just, he nailed it. They gave it back to him at the NASCAR Children's Charity last night. Had him autograph it and auction it off, so he did get it back. But
that's fun. We're going to kick this off. What kind of content?
What's a good wild story we have?
Oh gosh,
give us.
You can't put me on the spot like that.
At the spot. It's just.
You can't put me on the spot.
Give us a little tease of what Rare Breeds might look like here. We got about 3-4 minutes. What do you guys?
A story that can go on live radio.
That's the problem.
This is what I love.
Spot on.
So what you're saying is we're not going to be able to share any of this live.
We'll figure it out.
It'll be a long time before Rare Breeds gets a live show. That'll be
I would assume.
Is there a story on the show that you're afraid to tell that because your parents are going to hear?
I think I'm to the point where, like, what are you going to do? Like,
Yeah,
ground me.
I'm 35.
24 years old.
Can't get grounded for anything. The statute of limitations has run out a lot. So,
let me ask you this, because I know Mike mentioned this to me. Mike Davis mentioned this to me, and when he told me about this show, he was sweating when he told me about it. So I don't understand. But so have you run this by? Like, does your mom know you're doing this? Does your mom know what this is going to be about? Because you've shared some with me some details of what you might discuss on here, and my God. But buckle up.
Yeah.
So like,
Could we have like a sideshow of your parents actually listening to like the first?
Yeah,
few
we need
episodes?
like reaction
GoPro.
instead
Yeah,
of reaction theater.
too.
Instead of reaction theater, we need reaction from the parents.
They could thank Mike Davis for every single second of this.
oh,
This
so
was-
true.
oh, we're blaming Mike Davis.
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and say it today.
Oh, awesome. So
On the
I can
record.
see Mike in the background over here, and I think that he started sweating again for some reason.
He's a proud stage dad.
We've I don't believe, be honest with you, we've put Mike through the ringer on DVC for a few years. I mean, I don't know what the lawyers cost these days, but
Me and Caitlin are his next.
on retainer.
I think the budget needs to go up for this year.
Are they expensive still, Mike? Oh, okay. Just check it. I was just.
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't get the bill for that. Thank God. I appreciate you covering that.
Caitlin and I are his latest liabilities.
So now
so.
you guys, I appreciate you guys picking up where I've left off and picking up the mantle.
We'll
for
do you proud.
You're gonna cash in on the retainer for us over
Yes.
there. So I appreciate that. Well, we're looking forward to it, guys.
Thank you.
I think I assume you guys are looking forward to getting started.
We are.
Have you
We
guys
are.
are you guys planned this out? Like, I mean, if you guys
No.
Nope.
just
We
gonna
go to
wing
dinner
it?
and we'll be having a conversation and we're like, man, I wish we were recording right now.
Yeah. So
should
that's
be
just.
all right.
I think that's.
We're just gonna sit down and talk like we always
Is
do.
there anything off limits?
Yes, but not things I can say on live radio. So we're gonna just pass on that question. Next question.
Can I be a guest? Is there a possibility of being a guest?
Absolutely.
We have so many people we would
that
love
want
to be a guest.
Yeah. I don't even know if I want to be a guest. I just want to sit in the room and listen for some of it.
That might be
but-
the best.
All
best
right,
way
well,
to go.
we're getting ready to close out. We appreciate everybody for coming out today. Again, all you people that were here before the sun came up, you're crazy. I know you wore that 3 shirt because you got here at 3 o'clock in the morning. But we have a lot of fun with you guys. We have a lot of fun on the road. I know Jordan, being part of the Dirty Mo family now, with the Teardown is an amazing show. Every show on this platform is amazing. This one is going to be amazing. And credit to Mike and Andrew and Colby and Tiff and everybody behind the scenes that make this stuff happen. So it's just a pleasure to see you guys, and we'll see you guys this weekend at the races. I'm sure I'll be at Big Al's at some point this week. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys this weekend.